MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, north and south 270 getting on to westbound 70 are bumper to bumper. Southbound, it's the Rock Road. Northbound, it's jammed midway back to Dorset in the right lanes to about Earth City. Then it opens up due to a couple of earlier stalls. If you're on westbound 64, Kings Highway out through McCausland, that's still stop and go and backed up in spots from Lake St. Louis Boulevard on out to Highway 70. Westbound 44 has a jam approaching Bowles to west of 141. That truck, whatever it was, they just called out, actually, fire crews for a commercial truck fire. That was the truck that is limping along with the pumper following him in the right lane through Antire right now. So it's jammed, like I said, to just west of 141 and then slow up the entire hill following that truck. Westbound 44 downtown is slow between the bridges. Southbound 55 Gasconade Bates is a little busy as well. I'm Roger Brand at the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
News, traffic, and the latest from the world of sports. This is Rush Hour Sports on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Guys, welcome into Friday on Rush Hour Sports. Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here. And, of course, once we're done, we got a little sports open line until 6:45, and then we have pregame for the Billikens and the Dayton Flyers, and that's coming up at 7 o'clock. And I don't see a better place to start a Friday with that one, guys. That is a buzzy game, and the Billikens are the most entertaining and best quality team in town.
Not even a debate.
No.
There's no other candidate.
There is none. It's a one-team list.
I actually find the Cardinals' rebuild entertaining in the standpoint that they're getting rave reviews for their work so far. But, like in the arena or on the field, no, this is the show.
Yep.
It's so nice to have a buzzy college basketball team in St. Louis. And we've certainly had that over the years with Mizzou and Illinois. But it's been you got to go back to Rick Majerus era teams really for it to feel the way it's feeling right now to this level, where there's a certain level of confidence that if you put this team in the NCAA tournament tomorrow, that they could go on a legitimate run and play into that second weekend and maybe further. And people across the country are taking note. We've been learning about this as the season goes along, but in the last week, there's been an absolute explosion across the country in college basketball circles of who this team is. Josh Schertz has been all over the place talking about his team. All the college basketball insiders and analysts have been talking about SLU. It's great. I know some people don't like the Friday night games. They want the more conventional Saturday for college basketball. But there's two college basketball games that matter tonight in the country. Michigan State, which is the biggest game in the nation. And then this one, and there's going to be a lot of eyes on it and a lot of attention on it. I love the fact that the Atlantic 10 can carve out Friday night a little bit for some of their they need all the help they can get. It's not a great league. So go play these Friday games, get your best teams out there on Friday night, do what you're doing, get a juiced up Chaifetz Arena with 10,500 people, and let's go and let's do this thing.
Yeah, the Billikens are fun for a lot of reasons. I mean, obviously, they can hit you with so many players. I mean, they've got so many people that are capable of scoring, and they can do a lot of different things with alignments and lineups and things along those lines. Bern, I remember the Majerus teams pretty well, and this feels like it's as good as any team that they had during that window.
Yeah, it really does. There was a little crossover. I mean, Coach Majerus he built the team that for 2 years in a row was really, really good. Coach passed on, so Jim Cruz took over in that second year. But they were 14th in the one season and then 19th at Ken Pom in the next one, and they had a 2-year record that was phenomenal. And I look at Josh Schertz's team, and I know it's easy for me because I love Majerus. It's easy for me to bring Majerus up, to like somehow bring him into every conversation, but Schertz reminds me of Majerus. The way he puts a roster together reminds me of the way Majerus put a roster together. The way they play is similar. I would say, Schertz pushes the pace more. But those Majerus teams were solid in every area, basically. And this team this year, in Division I, it is one of the very best offensive teams and is one of the very best defensive teams in terms of their own effective field goal percentage and what they hold the other team to in terms of the effective field goal percentage. The only little thing that I worry about for them as a fan is they turn the ball over a lot. I think it's a byproduct of pushing the pace and playing so fast. But when they push the pace and play so fast, that's also a big advantage for them. But the trade-off is probably more turnovers than you would like.
Bernie, I know you had a personal relationship with Majerus. How do you think he would have accepted, handled, and how much success would he have had building rosters in this current era where a lot of old school coaches do not like the NIL portal era of college athletics?
There's two quick answers. First of all, he would have adapted. He probably would have been grousing about it. I don't want to do, but then it would have, number two, it would have given him an advantage if he embraced it. And here's why I say this, because it gave a guy like Curt Cignetti an advantage. You know why? When Rick Majerus recruited, he didn't give a damn whether a guy was a 1-star, no star, 5-star, 4-star. He didn't care. He looked at okay, what do I need for my team to make it better? I need a point guard that's great at breaking a press. I need a power forward who's great at passing the ball. I need this. He would have specific roles in mind, which is a lot. And never cared about a guy, his recruiting record. The best player he ever had was Andre Miller at Utah, who was in the NBA for 20 seasons.
Yeah.
And literally no one recruited Andre Miller coming out of high school. But Majerus saw in him. So anyway, the reason I'm tying those two together is that Cignetti always told us this last couple of years, he didn't care about 4 stars, 5 stars. He looked at guys okay, is he productive? I don't care about potential. Can he perform? Can he do it? And how can he fit into a team concept? And in that regard, and I'm not forcing the comparison, that is a big time similarity between both of those guys.
Yeah, you got to have buy-in, right, Matt? I mean, if you've got in this team, look at this team. You've got what? Is it 11 guys, 8 points a game or more? 6 guys, double digits, something like that. When you got that many guys who can play, you have to have buy-in or it's not going to work.
The best player on the team is taking a step back this year. Robbie Avila he's playing less minutes at times. He's willing to not score when other guys are going off. He is the ultimate team guy because he wants to get to the NCAA tournament. They should have gone there with Indiana State his final year there before Schertz came over. It was an absolute snub, but you as a college athlete, especially college basketball player, even with all these extra years of eligibility that the NCAA likes to give guys, you have a very finite
NBA guys are coming back
to accomplish the goal of getting to the NCAA tournament. So buy in. I think that's a good thing. I'm a proud graduate of Kansas State University. They've got one of the biggest NIL budgets in all of college basketball, and they're stinking terrible because every player only cares about themselves, and they're not buying in whatsoever. And I'm a Jerome Tang fan. I love the guy. I feel bad for him. I think he sold his soul a little bit with some of the guys that he brought in because they're spending so much money, and the results of that money is jack you know what, and it's the exact opposite with St. Louis University.
Well, maybe he needs to do, maybe he needs to do what Miami does. They poach other players who are already signed a contract elsewhere. Kevin Wheeler.
Hey, we needed a quarterback. That's all.
Wheeler is the product of a corrupt university. So I just wanted everyone to know.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good, man. Brother. I would love to take it all because we love being the enemy and we love being the bad guy. But man, we got nothing on the SEC.
That's right. Yeah,
we got nothing on Ole Miss and Alabama and everybody else. We're right there with them. Don't get me wrong. We'll put up a fight, but we learn from the best down there in the South.
If you need a quarterback, go get it. There's no rules anyway. No, seriously, there aren't any rules.
You're right.
I mean, rules. When I'm trying to put some notes together on Mizzou or something or Illinois, I always check and say, okay, okay, it says right here, Associated Press, the transfer portal is closed. All right. Then it's 12, 13 days later, and there's still people transferring. I mean, there's no rules. I don't even know why anyone bothers to put up guidelines or rules. So when I was only teasing you about them taking
it's all good.
Quarterback.
They took their top receiver, too, so, hey, what the heck?
Yeah, so, I mean, I can't come down on Miami. Because it's the wild, wild west, and everybody does whatever the hell they want to do, right?
And pretty much.
Yeah, every once in a while the NCAA will like try to enforce something, and it comes at the strangest time, and you just don't understand what they're even doing because the rules are like just randomly, I'm going to enforce the rule today, and then it's going to go to court, and no, you're not.
I did see one suggestion on Twitter, by the way, that since Giannis is looking for a trade, that maybe he could go back to college.
Maybe so. I'm sure they can find some money for him at Kentucky or something. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
They take him. They need him.
Yeah, of course, a lot of teams could use him. All right, guys, we're going to go back to baseball here in a minute, but a reminder, the Billikens are coming up tonight, 6:45 pregame here on KMOX, 7 o'clock for the opening tip. We're going to get to the Cardinals coming up next and the importance of the stars, the impact players, the guys that can actually crack the top 100 players in Major League Baseball. We'll hit that next up here on KMOX.
Attention business owners with a net income over $500,000. You need to work with a tax strategist that understands your entrepreneurial mindset. Download the most recent white paper written by E3 Consultants Group titled The Power of a Professional Tax Strategy Team. Go to e3wealth.com/radio to obtain a copy. It's time to learn about wealth and tax strategies that protect your personal and business economy. E3 is ready to help you think differently about your finances. Educate, empower, enlighten. That's the E3 difference.
Soulard is going to the dogs. Make sure to bring your four-legged friend to the streets of Soulard for the 33rd annual Purina Pet Parade, the world's largest costume pet parade. It all starts at 12th and Allen, Sunday, February 8th at 1 p.m. And KMOX's own Dave Glover will be leading the pack as the parade's Grand Marshal. Sign up today to march in the parade with your dog. The event supports Open Door Animal Sanctuary. For more details, PurinaPetParade.com. Don't miss this annual St. Louis Mardi Gras tradition. Sponsored by Purina.
In a world in need of a hero, one man rises to the challenge in style. He is...
just driving the kids to soccer practice.
Make every day feel epic in the all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid with up to an EPA-estimated 619 miles of range on select trims, advanced tech, and class-leading interior space. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
And hey, come on, no cleats on the seats.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband Ryan died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
St. Louis has a voice.
KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
That voice has shared our stories from headline to history.
This is Harry Carey from the beautiful new Busch Memorial Stadium.
From moment to memory.
Cardinal football on the move.
Among those voices, Bob Hamilton.
When I was in high school, I decided I wanted to go to radio.
Working at KMOX is an honor and a responsibility to represent this community. It's one we take seriously. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
An important message from S&L Coins. S&L Coins pays top dollar for your gold and silver coins, old currency, gold-filled jewelry, scrap gold and silver, silver plating, gold and silver bullion. Get a quote with a call to S&L at 544-3600. S&L Coins, 544-3600. Or visit S&L Coins at 9300 Gravois, just east of McKenzie. Open 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 Saturday. Before you sell, call S&L, 544-3600.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
We got a crash now on northbound Highway 270. It's North 270 just before 70. Right lane's blocked. Traffic is jammed back to Dorset on northbound 270. If you're headed that way, just be prepared. Southbound 270, the right lanes at the Rock Road are busy. All lanes are slow. Olive down to Ladue. After that, it looks like it's in pretty good shape. If you're on South 170, you're bumper to bumper from Ladue down to 64. Billikens game traffic eastbound 64 west of McKnight into Big Bend. Westbound 64 Kings Highway headed out through Big Bend. You're backed up and you're still slow west of 364 on out to Highway 70. North 170 slow, 70 up to Airport Road. Westbound 44, we've got delays from about Bowles Avenue, and it goes all the way out through to about Anchire Road due to the earlier incident we had that was moving slowly in the right lane through there. Westbound 44 downtown, busy between the bridges. Southbound 55, a little heavy approaching Bates. I'm Roger Brand at the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Rush Hour Sports continues on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
All right, time for some baseball talk on Rush Hour Sports. Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here. And, one of the things that this is all kind of, I'm putting out the umbrella now, but this is going to break down into the individual parts that we kind of tease there about having more impact players, guys that rank amongst the best in the sport. But it's also, for the first time in a long time, guys, that the Cardinals have had to, quote unquote, build, essentially, not from the ground up, but let's say from the first floor up. You're not you weren't a complete teardown, but you had to do a lot of work. And I think franchise building, guys, is part of the interesting thing in sports. I don't think it's more fun than winning. Winning is more fun, but it doesn't mean that franchise building isn't interesting to track and analyze and try to kind of play along as it goes along.
I find it fascinating, and I actually find it entertaining, and let me explain why before people think I've lost my mind or whatever's left of my mind. I prefer the Cardinals to be winning and winning and winning and winning. I sat through all of that and loved every minute of it. But they let the farm system lapse, player development system rot. They fell behind the industry. And the thing that was their foundation all those years, they always had a flowing farm system delivering players to the majors, and then they would trade some of those prospects and get some big-time stars to top it all off. Well, if your farm system and player development system and the draft was a big, big, big part of your success, and you let that thing slide, well, where do you start on the road back? By rebuilding the player development and farm system. You're not going to, like after last season, it's like, what people thought that DeWitt's and the Cardinals are going to go out and they're going to sign Bellinger and
Kyle Tucker
and get the top starting pitch. I mean, we got to stay grounded in the real world. So yeah, that's where it starts, and that's why I'm really interested in prospects more than I ever have been, and I'm keeping up with it. I'm talking to people. The Cardinals are getting rave reviews around baseball. In fact, we're already getting spoiled with that, because I saw some people squawk in the fact that Keith Law only had 3 Cardinals in his top 100. So, I mean, I love it because we always got to find something to squawk about, right? But Keith Law had 3 Cardinals in his top 29. Baseball America had 3 Cardinals in their top 33. MLB Pipeline, 5 Cardinals in the top 100, and the Pipeline hasn't had 5 Cardinals in the top 100 since 2018. So things are going well. And as I said in my video today, that doesn't mean all these guys are going to be great. And that the Cardinals rebuild, it's off to a great start, but it doesn't mean that it will automatically lead to success. But more good young players you have, the more your percentage of succeeding goes up. That's all I'm saying.
I want to see this team win a World Series. I want to see this team competing at the highest level. I want to see this team going on deep playoff runs. And can they sneak into the playoffs going kind of the route that they've gone recently? Sure, like one year you get in, another year you're not there. But they're not going to go on any sort of deep run outside of something crazy kind of happening. If this team wants to win at the highest level again, it all has to start with player development. And some of those players are going to show up and they're going to be really good. Bernie, to your point, some of them are not. Some of them you're going to use to augment your roster and maybe bring in a high-level player here, a high-level player there from another organization. Are the odds stacked against every team that's not in a mid-market? Yeah, but I don't care about that, because the non-mid-market teams have shown that if you're smart and you make good decisions and you can push the money a little bit, well, then you're going to be able to do something. And I don't think anybody in Atlanta sits there and complains about the fact that I think the people in Atlanta should feel like they've got a pretty good chance to be a World Series team no matter what the Dodgers are doing, because they've locked in their players and they've got a really good group. Now, they can have situations like they had last year where it just you fall on your face from the start.
A lot of injuries.
It doesn't go your way.
Injuries, yeah.
Right. But that's what I want the Cardinals to be able to recreate. And for the Braves, it all starts with developing as many high-level players as possible. The idea of being active in free agency to get the Cardinals closer to a World Series, I can't get on that train. I don't think that they're in a position to be able to do that.
No.
So go down this other path, and you're going to get there at some point.
There's only like 5 or 6 teams that can do that, right? You know, the Mets, the Phillies, Yankees, Dodgers. There aren't many teams that can just always shop in free agency. You do shop in free agency to add to what you build. But, you know, the teams that I would like to see this replicate, and not necessarily what happened after, but the way this went, guys, was the way the Astros and the Cubs built. And they're not going as far in the tank as those teams did. But how did they get to be World Series champions? A lot of high draft picks, great player development, keep some guys around, add to that as you go.
Right. And I was thinking of that, and I'm going to add to what you were saying because there's the other side. You're absolutely right about the Cubs and the Astros because they both did a great job of just blossoming in terms of their farm system. But then they were very aggressive about getting what they needed to get over the top. Yeah. The Cubs went out and got John Lester. They went out and got Jake Arrieta. I mean,
they traded for Aroldis Chapman and gave up a top prospect in Gleyber Torres. Right.
And then the Astros we know about too. Here's what you don't do. And Wheels, I may be wrong about this because you're a Tigers fan, so correct me.
Sure.
What you don't do is what the team I grew up has been doing. The Orioles went in the tank for 5 years, and they were horrendous, but they were accumulating prospect after prospect after prospect. And all of a sudden, you wake up and they're winning the American League East.
Yeah.
And then the next year, they get back into the playoffs, and then they have a new owner who was talking big. Again, be careful about what you wish for with owners. He's talking all big about this and that and this and that, big shot, talking about everything. What do? They didn't finish their team off. Yeah, I know they went and got Corbin Burns, but actually it was one of the rare trades where the Brewers really didn't get a lot in return, a little bit.
Right.
But the Orioles flunked last year because they didn't spend the money they needed or make the big trades they needed to top it off. I think your Tigers, the same could be said of them.
Yeah.
They have had a great farm system for a long time. But when are they going to think bold? When are they going to start throwing some money around? I'll tell you one thing. When the Cardinals get to that point, they better throw money around because I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that they will.
Yep. Right.
But you can't get timid once you get your thing up here again. You don't say, okay, we're done. No, you got to keep pushing.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's a great example on both fronts. When Burns walked out the door, they never replaced him. And, if they were a team last year that needed an ace and they needed more pitching depth and they didn't do it. And even worse than that, we don't have time for this. I'll use this as the tease. So we can talk about another part of this that'll involve the Cardinals too. And that is you can't hoard your prospects either. When you come to a time where some are established and you need some things, you can't do what Baltimore did and what I'm afraid Detroit's going to do. And that is, we love all of our guys and we don't want to trade any of them because we don't want to be wrong about the guys that we trade. So we'll kind of dive into that a little bit coming up after the news. It's Rush Hour Sports with Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, and Kevin Wheeler here on KMOX.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
At 5:30, this news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We've got 16 degrees. It feels like 8 downtown at the Arch.
It's so bizarre that Deanne Lane is no longer with us.
Longtime KSDK anchor Deanne Lane has passed away. The station says she was 65 years old. KSDK sports director Frank Cusimano tells KMOX.
I remember her as being a relentless reporter. I mean, you named the big story, Michael, and she covered it.
But he says Deanne Lane was like a kid when she got to cover sports as news, like going to Detroit for a Blues Red Wings series.
I mean, she was the daughter of a legendary broadcaster, Ray Lane, in Detroit. And then, ironically, she became a legendary broadcaster here in St. Louis.
More on Deanne Lane in the news at 6.
A booster can still come in and support her and say, all right, I want to give him $1 million to do some commercials or something. You can't cap what a person's worth is.
That's former St. Louis University basketball coach Travis Ford commenting on NIL payments to student athletes. He was asked on 97.1 if there's any way to rein in spending and says he hasn't heard a good one. As for the NCAA's player transfer portal, Ford says he'd be in favor of only allowing one move to a different school without having to sit out a year unless a player is following a favorite coach. There's a film reunion of sorts at Navy Pier in Chicago Monday to celebrate the life and legacy of actor, director, and writer Harold Ramis.
Toga, toga. Animal House debuted on the big screen in 1978. A film that followed a rowdy fraternity house and a college dean.
Drop and give me 20.
Actor Mark Metcalf played the iconic role of Doug Niedermeyer. He says the role and Harold Ramis changed his life. Whoa. Metcalf says he and the cast never dreamed that the film would play such a role in comedy history and would launch his movie career with so many others.
We never imagined that it would, people would be talking about it this much, this late, but we all knew from reading the script, and once we began working with each other, we knew we were involved in something that was really special.
Metcalf and his cast members of Animal House will be at Harry Caray's on Monday to celebrate the third annual Harold Ramis Day, who also wrote and directed the film Groundhog Day. Metcalf says the cast last gathered together for the 40th anniversary back in 2018. Lisa Fielding, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
Ramis graduated from Washington University in St. Louis in the mid-1960s. He was a member of the Zeta Beta Tau fraternity and worked at a St. Louis mental institution for 7 months before moving back home to Chicago. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk for tonight, a few snow flurries, breezy conditions, low of about 2. For tomorrow, some tough wind chills, high of 19. Right now it's 16, feels like 8 downtown. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
Hey, Cardinal Cowboy here. Who would have thought a car crash would have led to charities, TV shows, and cheering with the best fans in the world? I'm thankful for every day. And so are my friends at Renner Garage Door. They've been turning garage doors from zero to hero since 1966. With help from trusted brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, honest family-style service you can count on. So giddy up and get your free repair or replacement quote today. Giddy up!
RENNER, RENNER.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. YourEyeDoc.com.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer. Haven't practiced in a long time, but I did plaintiff's work and defense work, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. I have a pretty good idea of who's who in the firmament of plaintiffs' attorneys. And for my money, Mark Cantor is the guy. He's a great attorney. He is a great practitioner. He's put together a great team. He was born and raised here. He lives here. He works here. He wins here. Call 314-628-ALL-9s or CantorInjuryLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based on advertising.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. You know, the big wireless companies say they have discounts for people over 55. But unless you're willing to sit on hold and ask, you're probably paying more than you should. At Consumer Cellular, there's nothing to hunt down. We're built for people 50 plus with plans starting at just $20. And our 100% US-based customer service actually answers the phone. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today and get your second month free for a limited time.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Bernie Miklasz here on behalf of Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin Comfort dealer. I kind of want to just say congratulations to Saliga because the family has continuously owned the business since 1927. So once the new year turned, that means Saliga is now 100 years in business. The same family, 100 years, 4 generations of Saligas. And that's why they've built such a great business, because that family name is on the building, the trucks. And the Saliga name means the world to them because it's their name and their reputation. And they want to uphold their reputation and their family heritage as having a great business by continuing to have a great business, one that people can trust in Saliga Heating and Cooling and all that they can do for you. Think about that for a minute. If somebody's running a business poorly or they're not trustworthy, are they going to last 100 years and still be thriving? I would say probably not. Saliga Heating and Cooling will take care of you because they're honest. They offer prompt service. They're professional. They're classy in your home. They're never going to try to hustle you into spending more money than you have to fix something. We should know the Miklashes have been calling Saliga for 18, now into our 19th year of having Saliga help us out, and we are grateful for them. To find out more about Saliga, go to SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. You get the phone number, SaligaHeatingandCooling.com.
Want immediate cash for your home or see what your home is really worth in today's market? Find out for free from the local experts, my friends Mark and Neil Gelman of eXp Realty. Check out thegelmanteam.com today. That's thegelmanteam.com.
NeoVitan began with one doctor's mission to help others feel their best. After years of caring for patients, Dr. Ken Ribicki, a St. Louis physician, created NeoVitan, a line of multivitamins designed with quality, safety, and everyday wellness in mind. Each formula is made in the U.S. using the finest domestic and international ingredients to support real people living real lives. Discover the difference today with NeoVitan, available at Schnucks, Dierbergs, and NeoVitan.com. NeoVitan, trusted nutrition from St. Louis for St. Louis.
Hey, Happy New Year, big boy. Hey, what's up, Izzy? Also known as the Kool-Aid Man. You got any New Year's resolutions?
I got one, Eddie. I've promised myself to spend more time on that toasty, warm, huge, heated outdoor patio of yours. It's nothing like having your coat off, drinking the coldest beer in town with hundreds of your family, friends.
Man, it is a toasted patio, and that's a great resolution. And thanks for not mentioning things like weight loss and health kick, and those would be hard in Fast Eddie's. It'd be hard to lose any kind of weight or take away from anything when you got the half-pound Fat Eddie burger, the hot chick on a stick, that big Elwood on a stick, and those succulent peel-and-eat shrimp.
Yeah, I am not losing any weight hanging around your place. I learned it's a lot easier just to make those resolutions simple and fun, buddy.
Man, and that's easy. You're right. That's a great resolution. So make your resolution fun. And head on over to Fast Eddie's Bon Air. You know where to go across that big, beautiful Clark Bridge and come into Alton, Illinois. So like Mr. Shannon always said, if you're 21 and in the mood, we'll see you at Fast Eddie's Bon Air.
Kool-Aid Man.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
We got a jam right now on northbound 270 from Page up through Dorset to just north of Dorset. It's due to the earlier crash we had north 270 just before 70. They cleared it about 8 minutes ago, something like that. So traffic's still unwinding there. If you're on northbound 170, Scudder up to Airport Road slow. South 170, not much Billikens traffic right now. It's only backed up from south of the Parkway. Eastbound 64 is backed up. McKnight to Big Bend, a little slow east of Hampton. There's debris in the right lane, but after that, you're good to go. Westbound 64, Science Center out to Big Bend is slow. And then Lake St. Louis Boulevard out to 70 is busy. 70 out west is just slow from 61 out to about Wentzville Parkway. South 270 Oliveville do a little heavy. Westbound 44, we had an earlier incident involving a commercial vehicle in the right lane. There's a jam west of Bowles most of the way to Antire on westbound 44 right now, so it looks like they may still be dealing with that. I'm Roger Brand at the Michael's Flooring Outlet.com Traffic Center.
This is Rush Hour Sports on 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right, it's Friday on Rush Hour Sports. Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here. A reminder that just a little bit more than an hour from now, we've got pregame starting for the Billikens and the Dayton Flyers, and then the opening tip will be 7 o'clock tonight in one hell of a fun college basketball game at a sold-out Chaffetz Arena. And, of course, you can catch it here on KMOX if you don't have a ticket. All right, so we were talking about building franchise, and we're talking about the kind of some of the do's and don'ts, learning from what worked for other franchises or what didn't work for some of those franchises. And, Bernie, you laid it out really well that at some point you do have to get into the free agent marketplace to address your weaknesses. You don't build in free agency. You add to your house in free agency, right? You maybe do the new windows to your house or you get a new furnace, but you're not building the whole damn house out of free agency. You're going to do that with player development. At the same time, there's also the danger, the gridlock, maybe even the brain lock that comes with some teams where they fall in love so much with their kids they won't trade any of them. And then you end up kind of letting some of them spoil on the vine a little bit.
Yeah, I put the nickname Fabergé eggs on that process.
Yeah.
I used to get Jeff Luno and John Mozeliak really ticked off at me because all the time I was like, listen, yeah, the Fabergé eggs, they're nice to look at, but they're sitting on the shelves. So they can help you. They're pretty, they're very nice, they're very handsome, but don't treat them like Fabergé eggs. Okay, so anyway. There's a danger. Listen, I just started doing some research, and I won't bore people because, first of all, it's very incomplete. But what I'm picking up on, teams that have been in a bad way, this goes back maybe the last 10, 12 years. My early conclusion is this: teams that have been in a bad way, and what I mean by a bad way, where they have to like basically rebuild.
Yeah,
they have to they're in a bad spot. So what do you do to get back up top or start moving that way? The teams that have tried to we're not going to rebuild. We're going to throw money. We're going to throw money. We're going to spend money. We're going to spend money. We're going to spend money. Okay. They've all pretty much gone bust. It just didn't work. And there are some, classic examples of that. The Angels, for sure.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Mm-hmm. The Chicago White Sox, when they had that good run there for a while that ended, I think, the final year that Tony La Russa managed.
Mm-hmm.
They had bought a lot of players. They had done a lot of dramatic things. They really didn't have much to show for it. I mean, there's other teams like that. And so anyway, I'll just leave it at that. But that's a trend. You can't buy your way back to the top. You have to lay the foundation and build up gradually. Then you come in strong with the money or the trades where you get a big time player who's making a lot of money.
Yeah.
And this kind of goes along with that. I think for the most part, teams do a really bad job, and I think the current regime of the Cardinals are doing a lot better in this area. But I see across baseball, I don't think teams manage their 40-man rosters very well. You fall in love with guys that are not worth falling in love with, guys that are not top-level prospects, guys that their absolute ceiling is going to be just a contributor at the major league level. And I've never understood it. It always bugs the living you-know-what out of me because there'll be a bunch of dudes on the 40-man roster. There's clearly not space on the major league roster for them at any time in the next year or two. A lot of them are very redundant in what they do. And you got a bunch of dudes who are not on the 40-man roster that need to be protected, and the numbers just don't work. And you're at a point where you either have to move on from these guys now and try to get something for them, or you're going to lose them for nothing. And teams hold on to them. And then, I get it. A lot of teams have 40-man issues and everything, but there's teams that could have some needs for some of these guys. And I just don't think teams work hard enough at clearing out redundancies on the back end of the 40-man roster when you're going to lose them for nothing. And maybe it's just a small thing that you get back for them, but the Cardinals have been guilty of that. When I was around the Brewers, they were guilty of that. Every team is guilty of, I think, a bogged down 40-man roster.
Well, Wheels, I'm gonna dovetail on that. Wheels, what? Like, you guys, the two of you didn't like the idea that the Cardinals, Mike Ciani was going to be a franchise piece for a long time.
Right.
You didn't like that,
right?
Or even now, and this is coming from a guy that really does like Victor Scott. Even now, they somehow, I guess, believe he's Willie Mays come back to life or something. The Cardinals, I listen. I'm not criticizing to criticize. I think I'm discerning enough to have valid criticism. The Cardinals, for the longest time, and it's one of their problems, you guys hit on it, they have been overrating their own players to a preposterous level. I mean, over and over and over again, right? And it's one of the reasons why they're in the shape they're in, because they just believe their guys are better than they really are.
And better than performance shows.
Yeah, right.
Right?
That's right. They ignore the performance in some case, a lot of cases.
Yeah.
So the human, there's a reason for that. The human condition is to like fall in love with your guys. Like, you're being a human being, and sometimes you have to find a way to not be that way. But I think that this is why this is a really key moment for this organization, because you got a bunch of new people who are not connected to these guys who have been in the organization and are probably going to be able to cut bait a little bit easier. Maybe 3, 4, 5 years down the line, we're going, why is Heim keeping this guy? What does he see in this guy? Maybe that's a conversation we'll have down the line. But right now, that's not, so take advantage of it.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the Ranji rule. And I think every team needs this guy, because Ranji's line is, if he ever wins the lotto and gets super rich, he's going to hire one person to be his no man. And that person's going to be the one that tells people no when they ask to borrow money. I think teams should have a no man that says, you know what? You don't need to be that attached to that guy. You don't need to be that attached to this player or whatever, because, Matt's right. I see it so many teams where they're like, yeah, this guy, Baltimore was guilty of it, Bern. I mean, they have all these young outfielders, and they wouldn't move any of them. Well, at some point, it's like fruit. If you don't pick the fruit when it's ripe, it's going to go bad.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah.
So true.
And I don't necessarily mean that you know what the player is going to be, but a player has value. It's like money. And if a player is currency, you can use that currency any way you need to. But if you let that currency's value slide before you do anything, well, now you missed out.
And
no doubt about it.
One other thing on this, and it's hard to quantify quite as much, but it happens. You want to have guys at certain levels of the minor leagues for a certain amount of time. And if you've got a guy who's pretty good, but there's just no room on the big league roster, and they end up spending 2 years at AAA, they start to regress. They start to go back in the other direction. And a lot of times you don't get them to push forward again. I see it happen where you destroy a player's career because you didn't have room on the big league roster. They were at AAA for way too long, and you didn't open up a door for them to go somewhere else where it could actually, where they could actually continue to develop.
All right, we got one. Go ahead, sir.
Okay.
Sorry, Bert. You good?
No. We can hit it after the break.
Okay, cool. We'll do that. Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here. Rush Hour Sports picks up, and we'll wrap it up before Sports Open Line next.
SSM Health welcomes the St. Louis Golf Expo January 30th through February 1st at St. Charles Convention Center. Buy big brands with Pro-Am Golf, test your skills, and win prizes while they last. VIP tickets at stlgolfexpo.com.
This is John Pertzborn with Ben and Gentry for HeatUpSt.Louis.org.
We're the Golden Boys!
For the 26th Rise and Shine benefit.
It's Friday, February 13th.
Your lucky day to volunteer.
Or buy a sausage or egg biscuit for $1.
At participating area Hardee's.
It's HeatUpStLouis.org to also pre-order. That's HeatUp, STLOUIS.org.
Put the biscuits down, Ben.
Oi!
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, North 270 is thinned out through Page and Dorset now, so that's good news. Eastbound 70 is a little slow from Earth City into 270. Westbound Highway 70, just kind of heavy right at the merge on with the 64 traffic out in Wentzville. Westbound 64 Hampton out to Big Bend is still slow, and it's backed up west of Lake St. Louis Boulevard out to 70 at this time. South 270 is back on track. It looks good. South 170 bogged down from the Parkway to 64. The Billikens traffic eastbound 64 McKnight to Big Bend, but then you're in the clear. The westbound 44 is a lot better. They finally cleared the incident that was out closer to Antire. There's just a short jam, Bulls to 141, and then you're back on track. Westbound Poplar Street Bridge, it looks a little heavy. Westbound Manchester is still backed up west of Mason out to 141. We had a crash in that area recently. I'm Roger Brand at the Michael's Flooring Outlet.com Traffic Center.
This is Rush Hour Sports on 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right, Friday on Rush Hour Sports. Got about 5 minutes left here before we get ready for Sports Open Line. And then after that, of course, Billikens basketball on KMOX. Bernie, go ahead with the point you were going to make before we hit the break.
And I made notes on it because I'll try to be quick. Because all of this ties in what we've been talking about. You know, a lot of people in town were like, wow, Cardinals only had one guy on the top 100. And then people started debating who it should be. And I was kind of like, well, I think the point is they only have one. I don't, you know, I mean, yes. if Burleson was the guy or Wynn was the guy, there's a bigger picture here. This MLB Network Top 100 Players Right Now thing has been going on for 16 years. This is the 16th. This is the only time the Cardinals have had just one player. They have had at least 4 on that list 9 times. They've had 6 or 7 on that list 5 times. Here's the kicker. From 2011 through 2016, that's 6 seasons. The Cardinals had an average of 6.3 players on that top 100 list. So why am I bringing this up? It's because when one guy makes it, Herrera, and he's number 98, I think we can safely say what's gone wrong. They don't have enough talent, okay? And by the way, I'm not saying the MLB Network Top 100. I'm not saying that's the end-all be-all because I disagree with it, but that's not the point. I mean, the Cardinals have been operating as if they still had some really good talent. No, they actually didn't, because as soon as the guys that have been on that list, they're all traded. And who's left? They don't have a top 100 guy other than Herrera. And even that, I love the guy, but even that's questionable.
Yeah, you said it. Not enough high-end talent. And then fans fall in love with non-high-end talent and try to sell them to themselves as high-end talent, and that's not what they are. And there's a reason this team has not scored enough runs. There's a reason this team doesn't have enough strikeouts from a pitching staff. There's a reason this team hasn't been to the playoffs since 2022. There's a reason for all of these things, and at the end of the day, the reason is because of the 26 guys who are in that dugout on any given night.
Yeah, and I'm going to do this. You guys will get where I'm going, but you know how people are. This is why they haven't been good. It's not because of who the manager or the coaches are. Yeah. They don't have enough players. I don't care how good a jockey is. If you don't have a horse fast enough to win the race, you're not winning the race.
You know, and I'm really not doing this to be a jerk, but again, I think this all fits in with our conversation tonight. We have a comment from Aces fan 2222, right? Thank you for the comment. Making the case that the Cardinals, Luken Baker never had an opportunity to prove himself. I felt Luken Baker could have been that first baseman. Okay, this is exactly what Matt Pauley was just talking about. All due respect.
Yeah.
How many teams have released Luken Baker since the Cardinals did? 2 or 3?
At least 1, but I think 2.
But we go gaga over certain players where there's really hardly any basis whatsoever to elevate them into some type of status that they simply don't qualify for. Sorry.
I agree with what you said, Bernie. The only thing I'd push back on that, I do think Baker's a good example because he had that year at AAA where he hit above 300, a ton of bomb. He never did. The power stayed, but everything else fell back. He never had a chance to be that. I would have liked to have seen what he could have turned into if there would have been an opportunity. But at the same time, let's not put that ceiling way too high. He's still Luken Baker.
Right,
He's not this perennial all-star.
Right.
So I think each of our points can be described in the Luken Baker situation.
Yeah.
Right. That he probably deserved to play more, but he was never going to be an elite guy. And the problem is they don't have enough elite players. And do they even have one elite player? And I'm not going by the St. Louis standards of elite because we've all lowered our standards for that.
Yeah, we definitely have. That is a perfect final word for our baseball conversation for this week. Boys, enjoy the Billikens game tonight. Have a great weekend. Obviously, we'll do this again on Monday. We'll be in Super Bowl week next week, one of the most annoying sports weeks of the year. Boys, have a good one. That's Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler. Sports Open Line is after the news.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called them. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100, and I'm telling you, I was ecstatic. Could not believe it. Would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did. They gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-491-9914. 800-491-9914. That's 800-491-9914.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WEB-NOW1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
In times that feel uncertain, music can bring us together. Join the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra for Prokofiev and Child's Anthems of Resilience. Experience a shared journey of hope through Prokofiev's Symphony No. 5, Rena Esmail's Remember, and Billy Child's Diaspora, featuring saxophonist Stephen Banks. February 6th and 7th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
Big game, big screen, big energy at Ballpark Village, Sunday, February 8th. Enjoy the big game like you're in the end zone, featuring in-arena touchdown celebrations, fan cams, contest VIP packages, and more, hosted by RDJ and DJ Dex. Save up to $10 on tickets with code KMOX. Tickets and event details at stlballparkvillage.com/events. For more information, KMOX.com/events.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, the Billikens game traffic doesn't look bad. Eastbound 64 is just backed up McKnight to about Big Bend. South 170 backs up at about Brentwood Boulevard. Eastbound 70 is kind of slow, approaching our city into 270 right now. Westbound Highway 64, just a little slow at Big Bend. There's heavy traffic west of Lake St. Louis Boulevard out to 70, and 70 slow out toward Wentzville Parkway from there. Eastbound 70 before 64, we have a stall in the right lane, and it's a little busy there. Westbound Manchester still jammed. Weidman through 141. I'm Roger Brand at the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. Breaking news. The U.S. Senate has just passed a deal expected to shorten a government shutdown set to kick in at midnight. It's expected to begin because the House has to sign off on this package, but won't be in session until Monday. It's going to be another weekend indoors in the Southeast. CBS's Skylar Henry.
Several states along the eastern seaboard are bracing for another lashing of wind and snow. The Southeast is expected to bear the brunt of the dangerous blizzard conditions. Here in Hampton, Virginia, a fleet of trucks deployed by the Department of Transportation is preparing the roads.
As far as resources, I imagine it's all hands on deck.
We're bringing in extra trucks from Northern Virginia, bringing in some outside contract resources.
Comedic actor Catherine O'Hara has died at 71. Her agent says she died at her Los Angeles home today after what was described as a brief illness. CBS's Bradley Blackburn.
She was an actress who practically jumped off screen. Catherine O'Hara, who played Kevin's mom in the Home Alone films. Designer Delia Dietz in Beetlejuice.
If you don't let me gut out this house and make it my own, I will go insane and I will take you with me.
And Moira Rose in the hit series Schitt's Creek.
Do you realize the baby is crying?
I do, yes. O'Hara was born in Canada. She got her start with the Second City in Toronto.
Protests against the Trump administration's immigration operations have been taking place in cities including Minneapolis, Atlanta, Philadelphia, and San Antonio. At a benefit concert today in Minneapolis.
And there were bloody footprints.
Bruce Springsteen performed his Minneapolis protest song. A protest held in the Twin Cities earlier this month leads to federal civil rights charges against former CNN anchor Don Lemon. CBS's Ian Lee.
The Justice Department claims Lemon was part of this protest that disrupted a church service in St. Paul, Minnesota. The now independent journalist has said he was only covering the event.
Prosecutors have to show probable cause that there was an actual agreement to interfere with protected rights.
The Justice Department releases 3 million new Epstein files, including tens of thousands of images and videos. CBS's Ed O'Keefe with more.
They say that they have fulfilled their obligation to the law. Now, they're 42 days late in doing so, but they say that based on their assessment of everything they've found, they've done everything they need to do. They've withheld about 200,000 documents for various privileges, which means there's classified information or about people who were involved in this, other things that may be active that we just don't know about.
This is CBS News.
Follow and listen to the official 48 Hours After Show post-mortem on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
At 6:03 right now, we've got 14 degrees. The feels like is 7 downtown at the Arch. The Cardinals, Blues, and SLU might all be looking for a new television home soon.
The ongoing saga involving FanDuel Sports Network might have a final resolution coming soon. There's a scenario where the network goes dark within the next week, forcing teams and programs to find a TV broadcast outlet quickly. Locally, fans watch both the Blues and Billikens basketball on the network, while many other NHL, NBA, and college teams across the country have their games on the regional sports networks. A Sports Business Journal report indicates that if the 9 Major League Baseball teams, including the Cardinals that are in limbo with the network, elect to air their games elsewhere, that would essentially be a nail in the coffin, as any chance of finding a buyer or an investor would vanish. That would lead to Chapter 7 bankruptcy, a liquidation of assets, and the networks being shuttered, which could happen as soon as next week. Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
St. Louis is a sports town, and WashU will now have a bigger hand in preparing the sports industry's future stars. Starting in the fall, the university will offer a Master's Business of Sports program. Executive Director Dr. Patrick Risch says one of the ways the industry is changing is through the use of AI-driven analytics and predictive modeling.
It's probably no surprise that here in a baseball town like St. Louis, we have 6 young alums who work across the league for baseball analytics with the Cubs, with the Yankees, with the Pirates. So a lot of these kids coming into the program, they're hoping to also get involved in analytics either on or off the field.
Rich adds there are new opportunities for careers in digital social media and with the expansion of women's professional sports franchises. Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe remains bullish on the state legislature passing a bill to ask voters in November if they'd approve replacing the state income tax with a revamped sales tax.
Take a teacher at a $40,000 a year salary. The initial reports we've looked at, and we'll get this better for people as we move forward. forward, would actually pay a hair more in sales tax, but would save almost double in what she pays or he pays in state income tax.
Kehoe tells Hancock and Kelly that it would be a gradual phase out of the income tax and gradual escalation of the sales tax if passed by voters. It could be the hottest ticket in the history of St. Louis University basketball at Chaifetz Arena. The number 21 nationally ranked Billikens take on Dayton tonight. Former SLU coach Travis Ford.
Boy, they gel together very, very, very quickly. Look like they've been together for 10, 15 years.
KMOX will have the game broadcast with Bob Ramsey and Earl Austin Jr. The pregame begins later this hour.
Who's gonna show you? I will. Hello, I'm Deanne Lane, and let me show you good ideas.
We've lost a legend in St. Louis television. Longtime Channel 5 anchor and reporter Deanne Lane has died.
She was a really tough reporter who was afraid of nobody, but there was that compassionate side that you saw a little bit more on the anchor desk, where she felt like a friend.
Current Channel 5 sports director Frank Cusimano says he remembers her as a relentless reporter.
She did a series, and she lived on the streets of St. Louis for 5 days to give viewers a real idea of what it's like to be homeless.
She's also remembered for her coverage of the Kirkwood City Hall shooting.
I mean, you named the big story, Michael, and she covered it.
She spent 27 years at Channel 5. She suffered a stroke earlier this week. Deanne Lane was 65 years old. It is 6:06. Let's get you to Roger Brand at the Traffic Center.
Well, it's not much out there right now, Michael, which is great news if you are heading to the Billikens-Flyers game. The eastbound 64 is just backed up, approaching 170 to about Big Bend. South 170, south of Brentwood is 64. It looks a little slow as well around Grand and Market Street, Bernard. Everybody's getting off to run over to Chaifetz there, so it's just a little congestion, but certainly not a jam. Westbound 64, just a little heavy ramping on to 70. Eastbound 70, you've got a backup coming around the bend east of Wentzville Parkway up to 64. That's due to a stall that was in the right lane. They were trying to get cleared. Westbound Manchester, still backed up west of Weidman out through 141 because of an earlier crash. The rest of the highways pretty much back on track. Just a heads up tonight at 9 p.m. until 9 p.m. tomorrow night, so 24 hours. They're going to have restrictions. This could be down to one lane, both directions on 270 across the bridges of Madison County up north. I'm Roger Brand in the Michael's Flooring Outlet.com Traffic Center.
We have another weak northwest cold front coming through, so a fair share of clouds this evening and overnight, and there will be a couple of snow flurries from time to time. No big deal. It's breezy. We're going down to 2 degrees, so wind chill's way, way below zero. On Saturday, sunny. It's a cold day. Breezy still. 19. Wind chills will be in the single numbers on Saturday. Bundle up. Saturday night, clear skies. Very cold, down to 3. Sunday, partly sunny, though increasing clouds in the afternoon. Could be a couple of snow flurries or a little light snow late in the day. It's not much. 28 for the high, though, on Sunday. On Sunday night, full moon. Cloudy skies, though, and 20. And Monday, Groundhog's Day, sunny. Not as cold. 37 for the high on Monday. That sounds pretty good. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Dave Murray on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
St. Peter's 14, Florissant 14, downtown at the Arch 14, but the feels like is 7. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Come on, let's get going now.
From KMOX Sports.
We're primed and ready. All day, baby. Man, let's go.
This is the Gray Bar Sports Open Live. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. On 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It's going to be a fun Friday night here on KMOX, and we're going to try to get you ready for SLU basketball with a quick 40 or so down to about a 35-minute edition of a Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Welcome in. My name is Matt Pauley. We are done early today. We're done at about 6:45, and then we will very happily hand things over to Bob Ramsey and Earl Austin Jr. because it is the hottest ticket in St. Louis sports in a while. Tonight, the Billikens match up against the Dayton Flyers, and that's going to be a 7 o'clock tip-off at a completely, totally, 100% sold-out Chaifetz Arena. Some of the ticket resale sites have had tickets for just hundreds and hundreds of dollars. This has turned into a very, very tough ticket, and it's going to be loud, and it's going to be just a great environment tonight, and hopefully the Billikens are able to do their part of it and come away with what would be a really, really good win against the Flyers. A Dayton team that's better than their record, and we all know that there's a handful of teams in the Atlantic 10 Conference that have kind of been at the front of the line. Dayton's one of them. VCU is one of them. And now is the Billikens. And the Billikens have had some very good moments in the Atlantic 10 Conference. But it feels like if this is going to be the year where SLU is going to show their dominance, their superiority to the rest of the teams in the league, well, you got to beat those legacy top-tier teams. And that's Dayton. It's the Blizzard game tonight. It's going to be so much fun. So, again, we're done early. We'll get over at about 6:45 and hand things off. We're going to talk some SLU basketball. We'll talk with Matthew Rocchio in our next segment. And then we'll do a little Blues today as well. Jim Montgomery did speak with the media. So before we get out of here and get you to the Billikens, we'll listen to a little bit of what Jim Montgomery wanted to say very quickly because I want to get to Matthew Rocchio. I want to spend as much time on the Billikens as possible today. But today for me kind of marks the 1 week out until the baseball offseason. It either ends or it changes dramatically. So for me personally, I'll be leaving to go down to spring training a week from Monday. And that Monday, the 9th, is the voluntary report date for the WBC pitchers and catchers. 2 days later, on the 11th, is the pitchers and catchers report date. And then a few days after that, it's when we see position players get in there. And if you are going to attempt to have all the key pieces of your roster in place before spring training opens, essentially we've got 5 business days left for that to happen. So next week is going to be a really interesting week to see what happens. I'm still of the belief that we are going to see the Cardinals bring in a legit major league right-handed bat that can play in the outfield. We talked a lot about that this week with Hayes and Duhar. I mentioned that the other day, and I actually got a text message from somebody, and I saw the text message after we got off the air, so I wasn't able to address it. So hopefully that person is listening right now. But they brought up Nelson Velasquez, who was announced as a non-roster invitee to Major League Camp. And Velasquez has played a fair amount in the big leagues. He's got 194 big league games. This is a guy who hasn't played a big league game, though, since 2024 with the Royals. And really, he hasn't had a ton of success. So I think he's a flyer kind of candidate. I don't think he's that right-handed bat. Nothing has been said. So for folks out there, and maybe I'll be proven wrong, but I believe, I really do believe. And you know what? Aaron just actually said that on the chat. He said Nelson Velasquez is the right-handed bat. Aaron, let's check back. All right, like you watch every single day. I think you're wrong. You think I'm wrong. Let's check here in a week or so, maybe 2 weeks. Maybe it's going to take a little bit into spring training. Let's see. And I will certainly I will give you credit for saying that if that's the way it is. But I still think the team is going to bring in a more, and I'm not trying to delegitimize Velasquez, but I think there's going to be something more. Aaron adds that he thinks that they would have made the move by now. There's a lot of teams with a lot of things that they want to do, and there's a lot of legitimate free agents that are out there. I just saw, I think it was John Heyman who wrote it. I'm not 100% sure, but I just saw today there was a article that was written about how there's still basically 20 legitimate major league starting pitchers that are sitting out there as free agents. So it becomes a little bit of a game of chicken sometimes with these free agents, and when you get to this point, you wait to see who's going to blink first on these type of deals. So, Aaron, let's just wait on this one, and we've got this is not one we're going to have to wait 3 years on an answer on. We'll have a more definitive answer on it within the next couple weeks, I would think, within the next month for sure. So don't stop watching, and we'll continue to chat through this. We'll take a break right now, and when we return, we'll talk with Matthew Rocchio. We'll get a preview of what's going to be going on tonight over at Chaffetz Arena as we continue on. This is the Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Health Trends, sponsored by LendSeek.
Day-to-day loneliness can impact physical health, according to researchers at Penn State University. A national study of daily experiences of adults between 35 and 65 finds even temporary spikes in loneliness can lead to fatigue, headaches, and nausea. Researchers emphasize that engaging in challenging, high-concentration activities can reduce momentary loneliness. Activities like playing an instrument, coding, or intense exercise. I'm Margie Schaefer.
Last month, my business cash flow got tight. Sales were slow, invoices were late, and payroll was coming fast. My business is everything, and people rely on me. I can't let them down. I applied online at lendseek.com and had business funding in 24 hours.
Business moves fast. Don't wait until it's too late. Whether it's lines of credit, term loans, working capital funding, or revenue-based financing, LendSeek is open for business. Apply now at lendseek.com.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
Soulard is going to the dogs. Make sure to bring your four-legged friend to the streets of Soulard for the 33rd annual Purina Pet Parade, the world's largest costume pet parade. It all starts at 12th and Allen, Sunday, February 8th at 1 p.m. And KMOX's own Dave Glover will be leading the pack as the parade's Grand Marshal. Sign up today to march in the parade with your dog. The event supports Open Door Animal Sanctuary. For more details, PurinaPetParade.com. Don't miss this annual St. Louis Mardi Gras tradition. Sponsored by Purina.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union. Federally insured by NCUA.
Thank you, St. Louis, for making Genesis of St. Charles your most trusted and #1 Genesis dealer in Missouri for 2026. We know your time is valuable. That's why every purchase comes with 3 years of complimentary Genesis service valet. Plus, this month only, sign and drive a new Genesis with only your first payment due at signing. And leases start as low as $319 a month. That's right, $319 a month with only your first payment due at signing. We'll bring the test drive to you. Visit genesisofstcharles.com today. Based on GMA sales records for 2025. Unapproved credit. See dealer for details. Offer ends 1/31/26.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
It's Tom Ackerman for Ophthalmology Associates, the doctor's doctors, 314-966-5000 or online at youridoc.com.
One city, one voice. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
We are looking forward to a big game tonight. You will hear it right here on KMOX. If you were unable to get tickets into a sold-out Chaffetz Arena, well, you can listen in here tonight with Bob Ramsey and Earl Austin Jr. We're about 25 minutes out from the pregame show. It's the Billikens and Dayton. It's going to be a huge game, a huge crowd, completely sold out, and very happy to welcome on to the program. He's our good friend, Matthew Rocchio. He's part of the team over at STL Sports Central. Covers a lot of things, including the Billikens. You can follow him on Twitter at RockSTL. Rock, by the way, is ROCCSTL. Matthew, always appreciate you finding some time with us. What's your excitement level for this one tonight?
It might not be the level that the fans are at, but, man, it's high. It's going to be a great night of basketball. Billikens continue to push on what is a special season.
How important is it? Because this has been the week where people have started to take notice of the Billikens, not just locally in St. Louis. I think we've known for a little while now, but from a national standpoint, Josh Schertz is getting some national love. All the big national insiders and analysts have talked about the Billikens. You're seeing all these social media posts about the team. This seems like the game, and it's a national TV game. There's really only one other game going on tonight that matters. So this is kind of second to Michigan State. But how important is it? You've seen this team get built up in a big way this week for them to follow through and not deflate that air and to come out with a victory tonight.
From the perspective you're talking about, is massively important because even though Dayton's struggling, they've lost 3 in a row. The perception is still that this is the big rivalry game of the season. It's the Arch Barron Cup. Everyone nationally knows about Dayton because they've had so many NCAA tournament runs. So nationally, this game's still going to matter a lot. On the actual team's level, because Dayton's been struggling, this is another one where they just can't let expectations get in their way. They just they have to come out, they have to handle their business. It doesn't matter what Dayton's record is. They're going to play them like this is their season because at this point, this is Dayton's season, and that's all that really is going to matter to the actual Billikens.
Do the optics matter in the sense that when you think about the Atlantic 10 Conference, really you think about Dayton and you think about VCU, and I'm not trying to take anything away from the Davidsons and the George Washingtons and the Loyola Chicagos of the world, but to me at least, VCU and Dayton are kind of the poster children of the top of the league. Does it matter that you go and you win those games in a year like this where you're trying to show that you are the best team in the league?
Yeah, absolutely it does, because when it comes to making decisions in the tournament, there's still a little bit of the human aspect, and that means there's going to be some bias. And to your point, the expectation, the preconceived notions of the A-10 is Dayton and VCU. Why? Because like we just said, Dayton goes on tournament runs. VCU has one of the most legendary Cinderella runs in recent tournament history. So, yeah, the perception is there, and that matters when it comes to Selection Sunday. The Billikens do not completely have an at-large bid wrapped up. It's close, and this would go a good way to wrapping it up finally.
Two of their last 3 games have left a little bit of something to be desired. They got down big against George Washington. Again, to their credit, they come back to win. The performance at Duquesne, there was a lot of criticism about the way they played. They beat a not-so-great Duquesne team in that game. Is there any worry the fact that the middle game was really, really good against St. Bonaventure, and that first half against St. Bonaventure might be their best half of basketball that they've played this year? But we have seen over the last 2 weeks a couple games where they have not played as well as Josh Schertz and company would like them to play.
Yeah, they do play pretty well coming off those rough games, and GW was certainly a rough game. The big thing I would look at is just the GW matchup was perfectly built to cause them trouble. A lot of tall, athletic players who can flummox the Billikens' offense. And Dayton has size, but Dayton doesn't have the athletes like a Castro or a Johnson that GW had that allowed them to really play with the Billikens, both in transition and in the half court. So I think there's a good chance Dayton might flummox the Billikens early because they're third in the nation in turnover percentage defensively, which means they force turnovers, they block shots, they get steals. On the other side, though, they also turn over the ball as well. They don't shoot threes very well either. They're very efficient below the three-point line. But that means that the Billikens, I think, can lean on them throughout this game. It might be a close game at a 10 or 12-minute mark of the first half. But something tells me by the first time out of the second half, the Billikens are taking control of this game no matter what. And at that point, they're just going to be able to lean on Dayton. And that's why I might not like the Billikens to run away with this one, but it's hard for me to see the concoction of events that has them lose this game.
You know I love you for getting the word flummox in twice in that answer.
Thank you.
Well done by you. I saw a video that was posted by Stu Durando on Twitter not that long ago. At 5:15, there was a long line of students, and generally there is zero line for students getting in. This is sometimes we think about SLU basketball as being St. Louis's team, not the students of SLU's team. Really, really cool to see the students and the way that they are supporting this team right now.
Yeah, and really cool, SLU, to go ahead and give them a special student deal. I know the reselling market, both for the students, was also very robust over the last couple days on campus, but the fact that they gave them that deal and gave some students the chance to see what right now is shaping up to. I mean, already the best start in SLU history, but arguably one of the most legendary SLU seasons in program history. Giving them the opportunity, maybe some people from outside of town who are here, give them a chance to see what St. Louis can offer when it's at its absolute height. And right now, Billikens basketball is the height of St. Louis sports.
I did. I was on Gas House Gang with Nate Gatter earlier today, and I didn't even remember this, or it didn't even click with me. But he brought up the fact that it wasn't that long ago that SLU Athletics offered a rest of the A10 games ticket package for $75, and now we can look back at it. It's like 2 weeks old, and that looks like the absolute deal of a lifetime now.
Yes, so we were telling people about that on STL Sports Central as well 2 weeks ago. I was like, guys. I know there's like a $5 deal for this game, but also they got a last 5-game deal that starts with the Dayton game on the 30th. Grab it right now, and if you grab that right now, you grab 2 or 3 of those packages. You're walking around, you're big bucks right now in St. Louis.
You are. You absolutely are. One note in terms of availability, the team announcing that they put out the injury report. Only Jaden Schertz listed as questionable. That means Brady Dunlap is going to be available. He missed the GW game due to illness. How key is that in what's expected to be a competitive game that they have another piece available?
In a very humble move this week, Ishan Sharma said that he himself, of course, very humble, Trey Green and Brady Dunlap are the 3 best shooters in the nation off movement. And with how this SLU read offense creates movement, having Brady Dunlap back in the lineup is, of course, going to be a big thing. But also, not just with his shooting. The reason why Brady Dunlap has become such a key part of this rotation is because of his passing, his defense, his rebounding, all those things that you think, okay, he's a smart player, comes from a coach, his dad's a coach as well. He's long, 6'7", so, the defense, the rebounding, the passing, everything is there. We know the shooting's there. He's put it all together. That's why he's been so huge off of the bench, and that's why back on the bench tonight against Dayton, he'll have a big impact.
We want all our listeners to be locked into this game for the next few hours, but when our coverage does come to an end this evening, if people just need more Billikens content, what will you have going on that people can take advantage of?
We'll have a Billikens Central postgame. Is the fun thing, because it's a home game and because my good friend Bob Ramsey loves talking Billikens basketball, we wait for Rammer to finish up on KMOX before we start our postgame, and then Rammer comes down and joins us. So if you want a little extra Billikens, you want a little extra Bob Ramsey, and who wouldn't want more of those things, you can tune into STL Sports Central on our YouTube page. We'll do a kind of late version of the postgame show. I'll be joined by Rammer. We'll talk it all over. It'll be a lot of fun.
Awesome. Great stuff. Well, enjoy the evening. Thank you for making some time, and we'll catch up with you again very, very soon.
Thanks, Matt. You have a great night.
All right, me too. That's Matthew Rocchio joining us here on the program as we look forward to Billikens basketball tonight. It's gonna be a fun one, and I wish Dayton wasn't on this losing streak, because like 2 weeks ago they were a 4-0 team in league play, and now they are 4-3. So maybe it takes a little bit out of the matchup, but in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter. As we talked about, they're still a team that optically you look at them and you think of them as being part of the class of the Atlantic 10 Conference, and this is a chance for a nationally ranked team in St. Louis to go out and have a little bit of success against them. All right, so we're going to step away from Billikens talk for just about 10 minutes or so. We're going to talk about the Blues for a moment, and then we'll get you into Billikens coverage. We're going to listen into some of what Jim Montgomery had to say earlier today, the Blues coach. We'll do that coming up in just a moment, and then after that, it's Billikens basketball. Don't go anywhere. It's Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
SSM Health welcomes the St. Louis Golf Expo January 30th through February 1st at St. Charles Convention Center. Buy big brands with Pro-Am Golf, test your skills, and win prizes while they last. VIP tickets at stlgolfexpo.com.
This is one of those topics that no one really wants to think about, but if you're a parent, a homeowner, married, or helping take care of aging parents, it's something that honestly deserves a little attention. I'm talking about estate planning. And before you tune out thinking it's complicated or expensive, that's actually why I want to mention Trust and Will. Trust and Will makes estate planning feel way less intimidating than it sounds. They offer modern, attorney-designed wills and trusts that you can create online. And the process is surprisingly straightforward. In fact, you can create a will in as little as 30 minutes. That includes things like guardianship for your kids or pets, how your assets are distributed, and even healthcare directives. Don't wait until it's too late. Protect your loved ones with Trust and Will, the most trusted name in online estate planning. Go to trustandwill.com/plan to get 20% off. That's trustandwill.com/plan for 20% off. trustandwill.com/PLAN. You know, this is one of those topics that no one really wants to think about, but if you're a parent, a homeowner, married, or helping take care of aging parents, it's something that honestly deserves a little attention. I'm talking about estate planning. And before you tune out thinking it's complicated or expensive, that's actually why I want to mention Trust and Will. Trust and Will makes estate planning feel way less intimidating than it sounds. They offer modern, attorney-designed wills and trusts that you can create online. And the process is surprisingly straightforward. In fact, you can create a will in as little as 30 minutes. That includes things like guardianship for your kids or pets, how your assets are distributed, and even healthcare directives. Don't wait until it's too late. Protect your loved ones with Trust and Will, the most trusted name in online estate planning. Go to trustandwill.com/plan to get 20% off. That's trustandwill.com/plan for 20% off. trustandwill.com/PLAN.
Soulard is going to the dogs. Make sure to bring your four-legged friend to the streets of Soulard for the 33rd annual Purina Pet Parade, the world's largest costume pet parade. It all starts at 12th and Allen, Sunday, February 8th at 1 p.m. And KMOX's own Dave Glover will be leading the pack as the parade's Grand Marshal. Sign up today to march in the parade with your dog. The event supports Open Door Animal Sanctuary. For more details, PurinaPetParade.com. Don't miss this annual St. Louis Mardi Gras tradition, sponsored by Purina.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. After suffering an injury, you may face many hard questions. What will tomorrow bring? Which firm should I choose to represent me and my family? At Morgan & Morgan, we will hold your hand every step of the way. From our one-click sign-up, mobile apps, and 24/7 availability, we make it easy to get your case started right from the comfort of your couch. All firms are not the same. The choice is easy. Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
It's men's Billikens basketball action tonight as they take to the court to take on Dayton. Pre-game 6:45, tip at 7 on your home for Billikens basketball. KMOX.
Into our final segment of the day. It's the Great Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. My name is Matt Pauley. We are done early today because of something we've been talking about a whole bunch. Billikens basketball. What a big game this evening over at Chaifetz Arena. Tickets are completely sold out. That is great to be able to say as number 21 St. Louis matches up against Dayton. We've got Bob Ramsey, Earl Austin Jr. on the call, and our coverage is going to begin at 6:45. Want to move away from the Billikens for just a moment before we do get out of here, as the Blues, they are going to play coming up tomorrow when they take on the Columbus Blue Jackets. They're coming off a good win yesterday. They knocked off Florida by a 5-4 score. They were able to get the game-winning goal right at the end of the contest. Jimmy Snuggerud, a power play goal, and that puts the Blues up by 1 goal with, 9 seconds to go, and they're able to hold on for those final 9 seconds, and they get the win, and certainly a fun one yesterday. Jim Montgomery, the Blues coach, he spoke with the media earlier today after practice, had some injury updates. So in practice today, Jake Neighbors and Jimmy Snuggerud, they were both off the ice, and he said that it was just a maintenance day for them. They're sore. Sounds like they should be good for tomorrow. Pugh Suter might play tomorrow as well. So those are the first off comments on Neighbors and Snuggerud, but you'll hear a little bit about Suter as well.
Sore. Both are sore, yeah.
Tomorrow's availability?
For both of them? Expected to play. Again, just see the soreness and pain tolerance tomorrow. Same thing with for somebody else, I think. I don't know, ask me. Suter. We'll know more tomorrow. There's a lot of guys that are banged up.
So he's entered the equation of possibility.
Correct. Okay. He's a possibility for tomorrow. If he feels good tomorrow, more like he did this morning after this practice, then he'll be a player.
So the Blues scored the 5 goals yesterday. This is a team that has been offensively challenged all season long, and it was really good to see them score. And they've been scoring a little bit more here recently, and it was brought up that a number of those shots yesterday that resulted in goals really were quick shots. They weren't deep into the offense, but it was something where they were getting into the zone and getting the shot off very quickly. Montgomery said that is something they'd like to do more often. It's not something they've been working on. It's not a new thing, but it is good to see it happening a little bit more.
It is more of a focus, but I wouldn't say it's a recent focus. It's a focus all the time of trying to shoot the puck before the goalie's set, and that has to be on and off the tape.
Is there anything play-wise that's opening up more of those opportunities?
I don't think so. It's not like we have changed our practice habits to accentuate offense more. We do 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s almost daily. It just seems like our guys are scoring more in practice, and that has translated to scoring more in the games because we're 12 goals in our last 3 games, and that's, I think, probably our best 3-game streak of the season.
Pavel Buchnevich had 2 assists yesterday. He is playing much better hockey recently. He was having really just a not very good season, and he's somebody who makes a lot of money, and you really need him to play at a higher level, and it had not happened. Now, he recently was put back to center. I've always said that I like him as a winger more than I like him as a centerman, but you see what he's doing lately, and it's his best hockey, arguably, of the year. Montgomery explained what he's seen and why he feels like Buchnevich is playing better here recently since he was moved back to the center spot.
Well, I think it's allowed him to have the puck more. And he's a player that feels like most players, but him in particular, if he feels the puck and he has the puck more, he feels better about his game. So being at center has been a good way of getting him the puck more because you're always in the middle of the ice. Puck usually goes through you.
He seemed to struggle in the face-offs there before. Do you see a change now? And why more success, I guess?
Maybe he just is digging in more. I don't know. I wasn't here the previous time he was center. But he's done a really good job for us. And sometimes it's matchups. A lot of times with centers, it's like a batter against a pitcher. I remember going to a Cardinals game on Father's Day one day, and Pujols hit 3 home runs. And when he hit the third one, that we were down 7-6. It put us up 9-7, his third home run. And the guy that came in was 6 for 10 with 2 home runs against. Why would you pitch to him? There's got to be analytics in that game, right? There's a movie about it.
It was good to see Jordan Kyrou score a goal yesterday, but it was still just his 12th goal this season, as that is way off what he has the ability to do. The conversation was moved to a place where talking about the great players in hockey and the great goal scorers and the superstars, and Kyrou's not that. In some ways, he has some of the natural skill and ability that maybe he could find that in him, but it hasn't happened yet for him, and you don't know if it's ever going to end up happening. So what is stopping Kyrou from maybe getting to that next level?
All offensive players are streaky. That's always been the case. You get in a rhythm. You see the net looks like a soccer net, and then when you're not going well, the net looks like a mini mite net. And those are just things that really go through. It's the power of your mind a lot of times, how it influences you. And the legendary players, they don't get caught up in that because, it's like when you watch the Last Dance with Jordan. It's a special mind there, the way he thinks and the way he motivates himself. And I mean, with Lancaster Gordon, you look at Lancaster Gordon in a matchup, that's going to motivate you. That's a special kind of athlete and competitive fire.
And then the final thing, and we're going to finish the show off on this, and I think it's worth finishing the show off on this before we get into coverage of St. Louis University basketball and their big game tonight. The upcoming dad's trip, which is something they do every year where players are able to bring their dads on a road trip, and it's something really, really fun. And Montgomery was asked about that, and his answer went to a place of just the importance of the parents for young hockey players growing up. And I think if we take a step back, this doesn't just have to be about hockey players, but you'll hear him talk a little bit about the car rides and how important it is for parents to be able to have that time with kids. And when kids are athletes, there's a lot of time driving to and from games, to and from practices, all that stuff. And I thought that was really good. I really enjoyed listening to this. I'm not, my kids are not yet at an age where they're playing like high-level sports. We might have an 8 a.m. soccer game on a Saturday morning for a couple months in a row, but that's as far as it's going in my life right now. But I really enjoyed this, so let's kind of finish things off with Montgomery talking about the impact that those car rides can have on kids, and even the impact it had on him as he was a kid.
Every hockey player, when you grow up riding with mom or dad, and usually it's dad, in my case, and most people's cases, because they're the ones that drive, right? Mom is the one that nurtures. They drive you to practice, and they watch practice, and those car rides over years, it builds a relationship that time spent in a car is more valuable to your upbringing than going over homework, because it's time spent with your parent that you never get back. And it helps develop you not only as a player, who cares about the player part, but as a person and the relationship you have. I mean, I remember songs from different years that my dad and I would be having conversations about, and that's when I was a second year squirt. That was my first year Pee-wee. That was my second year Bantam, Was it Hall & Oates or was it Supertramp? I can tell you the years depending on the song that comes up. And I can tell you if he was yelling at me or if he was patting me on the back.
Really, really good stuff right there from Jim Montgomery. Enjoy hearing him talk about that, and that is a good way to finish things off for this shortened edition of a Gray Bar Sports Open Line. It is a shortened edition because we've got Billikens basketball. Are you ready for this one? This is as excited as I have been about a Billikens basketball game in a while. It is a complete sellout tonight at Chaifetz Arena. It is going to be loud as the number 21 Billikens play host to Dayton. SLU comes in with an 8-0 A-10 record. They are 20-1 and one of just two games tonight in college basketball involving top 25 teams. The other one is a really, really big one with Michigan and Michigan State matching up in East Lansing. But man, this is going to be fun tonight. I know Bob Ramsey and Earl Austin Jr., they are ready to go. They've got the call of the game. That's next. SLU basketball. Have a great weekend. Hopefully the Billikens win tonight, and we'll talk to you again coming up on Monday right here on KMOX.